Tommy, guys, I hear a lot of talk about Patrick Mahomes, how he's the best football player in the NFL right now. Could you guys tell me how Patrick Mahomes is the best football player right now?
If you look at stats, he was a first-year starter, threw 50 touchdowns, and he had a QB rating of 113.8. Now, I just threw out a bunch of numbers, right? A bunch of jibber-jabber for somebody like you or others that may not understand what that means. Oh, at an average quarterback rating is anywhere from 95 to 105. So 113 is considered spectacular. That's number one. Now, let's throw into consideration that this man has won an MVP. He has won the Super Bowl. And he hasn't even turned 25 years old yet. So we're just talking about where he's at right now. Let's talk about how he's the best, right? So he's putting up historical stats off of just pure talent. He was on LeBron James's Uninterrupted. Is that what his network is called? Uninterrupted?
Uninterrupted, yeah.
Uninterrupted it's called The Shop, where they go into the little barber shop and they start talking. Mahomes was there. And Mahomes says,
I started playing quarterback junior year of high school. That's when I really started playing quarterback until now, which is, I think, 6 years. You've
only been playing quarterback 6 years?
Well, I started playing my junior year of high school. I was playing safety. I was playing safety, a little bit of quarterback, yeah. So
That's
I literally...
crazy.
I didn't understand
crazy.
how to read defenses until like halfway through last year. I understood coverages, but how to be able to pick up little tendencies defenses do, stuff that Brady and them have done, they know it and they just do it.
Second nature.
I was just playing.
There he is.
And
You
stuff
were
was just
ahead of the brain.
And then this year I could actually recognize more and more stuff. And I think the more experience and the more I learn, then I'll be able to go out there and call plays and do that different stuff because I've seen it, and I still think there's a long way for me to go there. And that's where mentally I think I can get better. Physically, I feel like I've done a lot of stuff. I always work on the fundamentals and doing that stuff, but I think mentally I can still take my game to a whole nother level.
he had an MVP year with 5,100 yards and 50 touchdowns, 113 rating, all spectacular stats without knowing how to read a defense. And every other quarterback job is to be able to read, where are these linebackers? Where are the secondary? What defense are they in? How are they lined up? Because football is a game of chess, and you need to know what you're going up against. You need to study. You need to do film study to see this defense prefers to play like this, or this defense prefers to play like that. Mahomes, being the 24-year-old child that he is in the NFL, he didn't know how to do any of that, or so he says. I believe him because I believe everything Mahomes says. So he says that he did not know how to read a defense. That means he had an MVP year off of strictly skill alone and no real knowledge of how to read a defense. Tactical, film knowledge. A 24-year-old kid, I really don't see a 24-year-old kid having that, and this guy won an MVP without it, so it's pretty incredible.
24 years old, so he has a lot of room to grow as a player, if I'm not mistaken. Around what age do players reach their peak?
Most football players, especially quarterbacks, they reach their physical prime around age 26, 27, maybe 28. But once you talk about the cerebral part of the game, I would say that would be more into your 30s. About maybe 32, 31 is when you're very smart and you have years of classroom knowledge and just sitting down and knowing Tom Brady does this defense does that, this defense does that, right? And he'll have a lot more time to learn the nuances of the game. This guy is just playing off strictly skill alone.
For people who don't know, what team are you a fan of?
Okay, so let's get that out the way right now. I'm Giants Nation. I bleed blue. I've been a Giants fan since 2006. That will never change.
So you're not just a player follower. You're like a team follower, but you acknowledge players who are like fantastic at what they do. And
I don't follow players.
Right.
I follow a player. A player, but I follow all players.
What?
And a team guy, but unlike basketball, I do have a favorite team. I don't just follow guys in the NFL. It's Giants, Giants, Giants all the way. I've experienced 2 championships in my lifetime. Lucky to call myself a fan, but Mahomes is really, aside from being the best player in the league, he is considerably one of the best players of all time. Would you not
Brooks,
agree with something like that, Brooks?
Who's your favorite team? And then what would you say? Would you agree with everything Pedro said?
I was a Washington fan. Currently a free agent because of some effortry that they did. And I'm currently considering and weighing my options, looking at Lamar Jackson and the Ravens right now. We'll see what happens.
Dude, can you ever imagine hearing a Giants fan saying, "Man, I'm about to have to start looking into Sam Darnold and the Jets, man. I don't know. I don't know about the nah, man. That loyalty is
Yeah, bro. But then they decided to do some janky situations.
What happened? What janky situation are you referring to?
With,
Trent Richardson?
Trent Williams.
Oh, Trent Williams.
Like when 5 years, the tumor in his head, it turned out to be cancer. And for me, like, I've had family members and teachers and all that pass away from, like, breast cancer, things just ravaging their bodies. So that is just something personal for me that I cannot support. So that's why I'm no longer a Washington fan. And I'm looking at, Baltimore and some other team right now. So
we'll talk about the ineptitude that is the Washington Redskins another time.
You think he could retire early if he ends up, just...
If Patrick Mahomes can replicate these 2 years 2 more times, a 6-year span with 3 championships and 2 or 3 MVPs, he'll retire first ballot Hall of Fame.
I hear a lot of hype around players during different phases of my lifetime. Like, I remember when... what's his name? The Redskins guy,
RG3.
RG3 was being hyped up as someone who could have become the best player in the NFL.
Sure.
I've heard other players also hyped up. So what's different about Patrick Mahomes in this case?
So when you talk about guys like RG3 and Patrick Mahomes, they have different play styles. So RG3 is more like, you can compare him more to the guy he's backing up right now in Baltimore, which is Lamar Jackson, one of the most exciting quarterbacks in the league. He's actually better at running the football than he is throwing the football, right? And there's a whole thing about people telling him to change his position. You're better at running. You should be a running back, right? One of the most exciting quarterbacks to watch because he's a dual threat. He can run and he can pass at any given moment, just like RG3. Very athletic, track speed, and they got the cerebral part kind of down, maybe even a little bit more than Mahomes. The difference is they don't have the arm talent to be a quarterback like Mahomes. They got the leg talent, right? Mahomes can run sometimes, right? But that's because his arm is so dangerous that it leaves space on the field for him to run. Not necessarily he's a threat with his legs like RG3. Lamar Jackson, they are a threat with their legs. People game plan for them running. They don't game plan for Mahomes running. So you compare these two guys, right? And why they're different is because they're more susceptible to injury. They're more susceptible to criticism for not being so good a quarterback, right? Or even focusing more of their attention to running. Mahomes, by default, will already have an advantage because all he's focusing on is throwing the football. He's not practicing anything else. You got guys practicing your footwork for running or, certain drills that running backs may do. Mahomes is not doing any of that. He's putting more of his energy into being a quarterback and not a running, whatever. You know what you're going to get with him, and at the same time, you never know what he might do.
So, guys, are there any football fans out there right now that would disagree with any of the stuff you guys have talked about?
I hope not.
I'm sure there will be. I'm sure everybody waits for somebody to fail. Everybody has their biases, I assume. Like, you look at Mahomes and you can say he's a gunslinger. You can say, like, he does too much. He tries to do too much with his talent, which it can be valid sometimes because, some of the passes he throws, you're like, oh, what would... No. And then, yes. It's like high highs, low lows sometimes.
And one of the things I want to add on about that, when he said he didn't know how to read defenses, I believe that even more.
That's cap.
I believe it even more for this one reason. When you watch him play football, he literally runs around and until he finds someone and just chucks it open. That has nothing to do with reading defenses. You don't just run around forever. Oh fuck, and then just toss it 60 yards down the field. That's not planned. That has nothing to do with...
That's what makes him so great, is being a good improviser, but at the same time... like
improvising, man. And that could work against him at times.
Yeah, I think this year was a year that he knew, like, oh, I'm really good at reading defenses. I think he knew somewhat how to do it his first year starting, too. I think it's just like a different level of understanding this year compared to his first year starting, which is why I think, what he said was cap.
Nah, man. I'm buying it, bro. I'm buying what he's selling. Patrick Mahomes didn't look like he was doing any type of reading defenses until he came back from injury. Once you become a hobbled, injured quarterback, it's only one direction you can go, and that's usually into the ground. You end up getting hurt more. Mahomes broke his kneecap in the middle of the season, came back in the very first game. He threw a career high, most yards he's ever thrown in a game, coming off of 3 weeks absence of a broken kneecap. Most guys take months to come back from something like that. Mahomes took about 2.5 weeks, came right back, and it's like he didn't go anywhere. So when you have a talent like that who can throw 4,000 yards off of like 3/4 of a season, Mahomes is up there, man. He's definitely the best quarterback in the league. There's no football player on any team more valuable than him. You can maybe make a case for Zeke for the Cowboys, the running back. I don't know. Maybe Brady. I don't know. Brady is kind of on his way out the door, man.
Yeah.
Mahomes right now. Mahomes right now. He's just on a different level, man. I've never seen any quarterback play on this level, win a Super Bowl MVP at this age. It's unmatched. Down 10 in the Super Bowl to the best defense in the NFL, and he just got done throwing his second pick. You know what most guys would do after they throw their second pick? Fuck. Oh, damn. Oh. Like, when guys make mistakes, they hang their heads over that. And you know what Mahomes does? He's a leader. He's talking about picking guys up. Guys, let's go do something that's never been done before. You're talking about the guy who just threw a potential game-losing interception, and he's picking up his guys. One thing that he has that I don't think any athlete has right now is that leadership through adversity. Like, I've never seen somebody be losing a football game by 24 points, and he's telling everyone, we're straight, we're good, don't worry. Down 24, most guys are panicking. They're starting to look at the clock and the score and just like, oh my God, like we might lose this game. Down 10 in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl. Don't you think most guys might start thinking, oh, it's not good? Don't you think most guys on the other team, the 49ers, don't you think those other guys were out there like, oh my God, we're about 8 minutes away from winning the Super Bowl?
Yeah, no, for sure. Bro.
So that gives them extra motivation. And if Mahomes is able to come back from all that to throw 2 or 3 touchdowns and win the Super Bowl MVP against the league's best defense,
he's able to be, his composure really helps with his playing ability.
His poise and composure is the reason that he's as successful as he is, because he's never too up and he's never too down. He won an MVP last year and came back and put up better stats.
Got it. Okay.
You go from historical season to even more historical season. That's just, I've never seen an athlete transcend himself that way. He's going to change the way football is played. For those that don't know, Mahomes was a baseball player. He actually got drafted by a baseball team, by the Major League Baseball. He got drafted and he was like an all-state pitcher. His father was a professional baseball player, a pitcher for the New York Mets, Patrick Mahomes Sr. And this guy was Mahomes Jr. He's throwing 95 miles per hour fastball in high school. That's what guys in the major league throw. He was a gifted baseball player. He was supposed to be a baseball player. Didn't start playing quarterback until 11th grade in high school. Most guys in the NFL, when you if you watch like an ESPN special and they're talking about their life, you always got the little Pop Warner. You always got the little Pop Warner picture with them as a kid and pads and all that. It takes a whole lifetime to get to where some of these people are at, right? And Mahomes started in 11th grade. How long ago was that? How long ago were we in 11th grade? I was in 11th grade in 2012. That means Mahomes was 11th grade in 2011. This man's only been playing the position for 9 years and he just won the Super Bowl.
My guy or gal, thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell, and share this video for the latest on sports, progressive politics, and pop culture. Slat!